presentation to start up the turbine. Hello. There.
Thank everybody for coming. I'm Tim Kramer, and I'll be your MC for the night. I'm the husband and of the keynote speaker, Christina Kramer. We're going to have two speakers tonight. We're going to have Christina and Kelly Martinson, which will be here shortly. They're running a little bit late. Also, we have a couple of legislators that will speak during the night as well. We are here to unify, educate, and empower. We want everyone here to become a force multiplier when they leave here. With that, give a warm welcome to Christina.
All right. All right. So I'm just going to get right into it. I have a bunch of slides. There's a lot. I go really fast. I want you to learn as much as you can in a short period of time. So let's just get started. This is our Facebook page, and this is our cover photo here, and we're going to take a look at that in a moment. If you're interested in joining our group to learn more, there's tons of information on there, and we get like 50 to 100 posts a day from our members. So if you're interested, click on that QR, and there's some pamphlets in the front of the room. So the meeting tonight is going to go. Tim is the coordinator. Thank you, Mr. Pappas, Patricia Beaumont, and Kathleen Sullivan, who's outside. She's the best presentation organizer ever. I'm going to quickly go through what is actually happening with Equinor in the most informative way. And then Kelly Martinson's going to, any of the elected officials who very generously gave their time to be here will have a moment to speak if they want to. If not, we'll just go forward. And Kelly Martinson is going to do a brief presentation on high voltage cables. It's important that she does this because she has the background to support the statements that she makes. And then I'm going to finish off with a little bit of national security, the cost, the marine life, and the ocean ecosystem impacts. We can have a Q&A at the end if you want to, but if you don't, there are about 10 people in this room that are really educated about everything Equinor, and we'll stick around and have one-on-one Q&As with anybody who'd like to speak with us. So who we are, we are people who are very passionate about the beach. We all purchased property here, raising our children here because we love this peaceful environment. We are stewards of the planet and the ocean, and we don't want that to change. We are parents raising children. We're taxpayers. We're people who do a lot of charity work and give to our communities. I'm a local photographer, giving a lot of time to this. So if you want photos, I'm a portrait photographer. I'm a business owner, so is my husband, and we just want to conserve our environment. So it all started back in February when I got this letter from Equinor. This letter says right here that they're going to be running 3 high voltage cables right in front of my home, and that they're going to stop in Island Park, step up the voltage, and then go to the Oceanside Barrett plant, where they will then outsource the electricity to the national grid. I thought I was being an alarmist, and I was like, this sounds really suspicious. What should we do? Island Park was having a presentation, so we decided to go there. And once you learn a little bit about what's happening, and then you dive down the rabbit hole, you can't unsee it. So I did. And here's some things that I learned. Equinor is a company that the government of Norway owns. The government of Norway owns 67% of the company of Equinor, and the other 30% is public. It's public. They're going to be, so I saw this graph and I thought, wow, that's pretty colorful and also very misleading. It's painted in a way that it doesn't look very aggressive at all. But if you really think about what's here, it's a little bit alarming. This right here is going to be Equinor 1. That is about 50 turbines, and I'm saying approximately, so it's close. And then ours is Equinor 2, which is this yellow one here, and that's going to route their wires through Long Beach. Behind there, so that's 200 for Equinor. Equinor also has over here Beacon Wind, and they're going to be routing that through here into Astoria. And then we just found out recently that Hudson North just purchased this 679 turbines that will go behind Empire 1 and Empire 2. And then there are some other projects in the works. The fairways, if you total just this area here, there will be 2,277 wind turbines directly off the shore, the south shore of Long Island. So as Atlantic Beachers, if there are a lot of people here from Atlantic Beach, and I hope there is, I think it's really important for you to know that Equinor has only been speaking to us about Empire 2. Empire 2 starts at 14 miles and goes to 20 miles out into the ocean, whereas Empire 1 is substantially closer, and being to the west of Long Beach, you'll get a bigger visual of Empire 1 probably than you will of Empire 2. If you look at this entire map, you'll see that it will total about 5,500 turbines in our ocean. So that's something we all need to think about if we're all ready to industrialize our ocean. This is just a close-up. I just wanted to show you like an even bigger picture of what's actually going to be here. So Empire 1 and 2 is 20 to 30 times the size of Long Beach and 1/4 the size of Nassau County, just to give you a little perspective on the size of this project. It's about 120,000 acres of the ocean that it will consume. So this is just a picture of, and most of these slides are taken directly from Equinor's site and the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management and NOAA. So most of the slides that look like this are directly from their public paperwork. So it's not stuff I just made up. I'll tell you the stuff I made up. Because there are some things that I made. So these were some of the routes that they were considering. At one point, Empire 1 and 2 were going to be shoved in through Long Beach, but Empire 1 is now going around and coming up to the left here into Brooklyn, but Empire 2 will still be coming into Long Beach. This is just to show you where Empire 2 has now changed the route to, but these cables will be coming in here. After I went to the Island Park meeting, then I came here. There was another Equinor meeting where the representatives, Jennifer DuPont and Susan Lynn, I know them by their names now, came here and did a presentation, and they explained some of the some of what's going on, and the audience had a moment to ask Q&As, and we asked, why didn't you go through Long Beach, through Jones Beach, or maybe through Lido Beach, where there was it's less inhabited. And I can tell you about Long Beach, Jones Beach. Well, there's another project headed there that's called Juno, and originally it was called Ann Barrack. And Ann Barrack project said that they didn't want to go through Long Beach because it was a densely populated recreational and residential area. So they turned Long Beach away. So we're not entirely sure why Equinor thinks it's appropriate to run the cables through our city. And then this was another alternative to go around Point Lookout and then go over into the Shell Creek area, the POPs or Leota site, and then off to the Barrett plant. And these other routes were all things that were being considered. So what these cables are, it's about 350,000 volts of electric current running through our densely populated residential area. I was on a phone call with them in the 8-hour Q&A Article 7 phone call, and I said to them, what does that even mean? Am I in danger? Is my family in danger? Like, what does that mean to people who live here? And they said, oh, it's just like a toaster oven or a hair dryer. And those are the exact examples they gave. They gave those same exact examples in this room. And then I said, well, a toaster oven's 220 volts. This is 350,000. I don't run my toaster oven 24 hours, 7 days a week, and I don't stand on top of it. So I don't want to talk too much about electrical current, but this was alarming to me that they compared this figure to a toaster oven. This is the actual route that is going to be happening. It's going to be beaching on Riverside Boulevard, and then it's going to go under the boardwalk, and then it's going to make a right onto East Broadway. It's then going to go up Lincoln Boulevard, and then a left on East Harrison, under the Long Beach Bridge, through the North Park area, and then over to Island Park, where it will go to the Pop substation, which we'll talk about in a minute. So that's the exact route. Also, consideration is that we live in what's called Hurricane Alley. There's a special area between New Jersey and Long Island. It's called Hurricane Alley. And we've had hurricanes here. We've had Henry, we've had Andrea, we had Gloria, we had Irene. And these Sandy, of course, but that wasn't really a hurricane. Wasn't that more like storm surge? But anyway, yes. uh, but these turbines cannot withstand anything over category 2. They'll have trouble in category 2. They'll go down in anything further than that. So why is this here? Why did they come here? Because our Senator Todd Kaminsky and Mike McGinty, this is the letter that they both signed asking Equinor to bring their cables here so they can use the E.F. Barrett plant for a generation station in Island Park. So while this company was actually going to go around our community, they invited it here because they believe that this could be a source of revenue and to offset some of the taxes in Island Park and Long Beach. And, you know, it's a known fact that Long Beach is typically fiscally challenged. So that's who brought it here. So this is just a slide about the general process. This has been going on since 2017. This is when they got their lease. They began surveying. They have their federal permits. They've leased the property from BOEM, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management. And right now so this is where Article 7 submission begins. And this is about the time when they were supposed to be alerting the public and the residents on the process of Article 7. Did anybody get anything in the mail about how to navigate Article 7? I didn't get that either, so just checking. And nobody in any of the other lectures has received that mail. And then right now we're in the Article 7 submission. And after this gets approved, if it does get approved, they will then get their federal state permits, and then they'll start negotiating with the municipalities about ordinances and things like that. And then they'll start construction and fabrication. So this is pretty alarming. And there are many people who are in this room and in Long Beach who are actually part of the Article 7 process. It's not easy to navigate. It looks like it's, you know, fairly easy. You just kind of click on the button and sign up, but then they send you hundreds and honestly thousands of pieces of paper. And they say you don't need to have a lawyer, but none of us who have jobs and kids has time to go through all of that paperwork. So currently, a group of about 10 of us are, what do you call it when you hire a lawyer? Retaining a lawyer service so that they can start giving us guidance, and not just for ourselves, but for the group of 3,700. Actually, it's 3,900 now that are interested parties. So we'll be keeping you updated on all of that on our Facebook page. So this is just another way of laying out the map that you just saw. Right now we are in this is the part here where they say they're supposed to at least once a week alert the public. None of that ever happened, or none that we can remember. So we're down here in the Article 7 phase, and once this gets done, once they go up, they won't be coming down. So this is just a more encompassing map, again, through Long Beach, through Island Park. This is the substation at Pops. And then there's another substation here over in the Leota plant. And debatable whether or not they're even going to use Barrett at this time. There's a lot of discussions, but originally it was going up to the Barrett plant, which is where they would then send the electricity onto the national grid. Equinor has acquired a lot of land in Island Park, Pops, the marina, the car dump, that's the Leota plant and some storage, $35 billion. Hampton Road, also in Island Park, they've spent approximately $65 million on just property. From what I understand, Railroad Place is one of those places that are in the mix, a possibility of stopping it if they don't sell that property. I don't really understand how it would get transferred, whether the mayor does it or the town or the council. So that's something we can look into. This is just an illustration of what an actual cable looks like. It's all copper on the inside, and then it has these layers of sheathing and foil and swelling tape. A lot of people ask about what they look like. That's it. There'll be 3 of them. I think they have recently adjusted that to 2 instead of 3 smaller ones. There'll be 2 larger ones inside of a larger encasing. And this is what it would actually look like. So this is what the large encasing would look like. And I just want to call your attention to the image here. If they beach this on Riverside, there will be hundreds and hundreds of feet to the right and to the left, about 900 feet, where they'll be dredging, they'll be pounding pylons into the ocean, they'll be digging holes. And there's also a little concern about the Lloyd's Aquifer. I'm trying to do some research on, because they keep saying how they dig so deep down below the seabed that it's not going to bother us in hydro drilling. But I'm concerned about the aquifer. Todd Kaminsky was here a couple of years ago telling us how delicate it is. So that's definitely something we should check out before measures are taken to move forward with construction. So this is just an overhead of what, the amount of area they might take from our beach parkland. So when we were at these meetings, we've asked them time and time again, have you done this in a highly populated residential area? And they say, oh yeah, we have. As a matter of fact, we did the South Fork, and this is an article that we found in the Newsday, and this is what they're using for a comparison. Notice they have a 3-foot trench. Our trench will be 6 feet. And then next to it is the Long Island Railroad, and then there is a little forest, and I don't know what's behind there, but it doesn't look like our landscape. That's just another picture closer, just so that you get a better idea of what's around that. So then they also said, well, we did it in East Hampton in the Wainscott area. So this is Georgica Pond. This is kind of an overhead. There's about, I think the entire population of this area is 650 people, 650, not 6,000, 650. And this is what they were using as a comparison for Long Beach. This is just another overhead to show you that I'm not making stuff up. We just Google mapped all of this stuff. And this is Long Beach. So, I mean, like, I don't understand how they can use this as a comparison. This right here is Lincoln Boulevard here. And, well, I'll just go to the next slide because I can. So this is my house right here, this blue house. Some of you might know it with the American flag. This is East Broadway. And right here is where they want to dig their trenches. My door is right here. So that's just feet from our homes. This will be running through the homes of all of Broadway. And this is Chris's house right here, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then over here, this is also, it's going to be coming up here, going down Broadway. And this is Lincoln Boulevard over here. It's going to be making this right, this left, and this is more residential areas, and they'll be digging the trenches on this side of the street. So this is something important that is not being spoken about. They aren't talking about any of this in the Equinor meetings. This is what's called a joint bay. This again is my house right here, and this is Chris's house. Chris's plot is 60 feet by 100. So this joint bay is 50 feet long, 20 feet wide, and 10 feet deep. When I asked them at the Equinor meeting what that is, they said they have to splice the cable and put it together because it doesn't run that long. You can't have a long cable. So my question is, if they're protecting us from the EMFs and they're splicing cables, will EMFs be coming up and accumulating in our environment? And also, why do they need such a big space? What's going on in there? Will people be going in and out of there? It is underground, but we don't know what the purpose of these joint bays are. And then look at these little black dots here. These are all manholes. Again, if you're protecting us from the EMFs, why are the manholes there? Will EMFs be coming up out of those manholes? And then this is up Lincoln Boulevard, more manholes, another joint bay, not as large as the other one, more manholes. And then when you get to the end of Lincoln Boulevard, it's going to take that left onto East Harrison. And then I just wanted to show you how it's going to go under the bridge and then across over here. And that area right there is Railroad Place. And that's one of those places that are disputable whether it can be sold or not. And then in Island Park, so that was 2 joint bays. There's 3, 4, there's another 6 joint bays. And this is just overhead maps of where these wires are going to be running, and notice how close they are to all of the residential homes. Some of these homes are literally going to be getting their backyards dug up. And there's another one, more residential homes, more joint bays, more construction. So note when I talked about the joint bays, I said to them, you know, why would you have to have this joint bay and this cutting of the wire and splicing? And they said because the wire, it only goes so long, you can't extend it that far. So why is there Beacon Wind going 170 miles without a joint bay or manhole or splicing all the way to an Astoria? If they can do 170 miles, why do they have to, why are they even going through here at all? Why aren't they just going around? So this is what I call one of my social injustice slides. These were done by our beautiful research team. They all know who they are, and I love them, and I thank them for doing all this research work. So here we have Montauk. This is what's planned: 12 turbines, 35 miles off of shore. We have in another in Nantucket, 159 turbines, which I think is just proposed, also 60 miles off ashore, and then 30 miles off ashore. And for us, we get 14 miles and 200 turbines. So I'm wondering why they give the more affluent neighborhoods the courtesy of being further out in the ocean, not just because we don't want to look at them or see them, because if it was so good for the earth, I can eat the visualness of it, but it's not. When you are this close to the shore, that's where the marine life breeding grounds are. That's where they mate, that's reproducing, that's where they, you know, they get their food. That's where fishing happens. So, you know, the further out they are, I think they're less environmentally impactful, but the large scale of this is just alarming. And no matter what size they are, or how far they are, I think we really need to just take a look at what's going on in our beautiful ocean. Somebody sent me these slides today, and this is just another slide of like, they had an opportunity, and one of the alternative routes was to go into Lido Beach. And I'm not saying I want the wires anywhere. I'm just saying there were other alternatives. To Lido, they could have cut across the golf course and then made a straight path over here. So these are the wetlands, and when we asked John Bendo, why didn't they go through the water? Because we have our sewer running through here. Like, what is the big deal? They said, oh, there was just too much red tape and they were worried about their environment. I'm like, well, what about our environment? Like, do people have the right to have their environment conserved as well? So this is just pointing out that there were other major alternatives and the reasons why they were denied. This one was particularly something that I mentioned before, that Jones Beach alternative was a failure because of, I'm sorry, the Jones Beach alternative had water depth issues. So And oh yeah, that's that. That's what I want to point out. The state park agreement would be required. So many of you in this room already know we've gone to city council meetings, and our city council initiated a bill for home rule to Senator Kanzanori Fitzpatrick, and she put the bill on the table, but she held it because she didn't, she was just gathering the gravity of what the bill meant. And during this time was receiving a lot of pushback from the residents. And the bill ultimately was taken out of her hands by a senator in Brooklyn. He copied and pasted it, put it in his own bill, and it was just some really backhand, underhanded deal that happened. So the gist of it is that Long Beach does have home rule now, but the problem with that is, so it sounds good, like Long Beach is in control of what happens here, but it was protected park land, and this reason state park agreement, these state park agreements are very, very difficult to obtain. And by opening up this Pandora of trying to get home rule in order to alienate this land, this is something that could be very hurtful to our community. It could be potentially devastating. And then this is just my supporting statement saying that Long Beach was a barrier island and it's an extremely busy recreational beach associated with boardwalk, and there's little undeveloped land. This was just their supporting statements why they didn't go through Long Beach back for that other project. Just the overview of the cables again. So this is the Island Park Pops. This is where Pops used to be. This was the land that was acquired by Equinor. And this is a visual that they are proposing as a substation. This wall will be what they say 60 feet high, but you might have some latitude because that might not include the elevation for hurricanes, and it could fluctuate. This is what this is what they think the view will be. I took this from the Island Park presentation. And then this is an overhead of the substation. Things that I'd like to note are that this is the nursing home rehabilitation center right there on Long Beach Road. So all of these components will be 100 to 200 feet from these residential homes are not luxury housing. This is affordable housing. And these people are going to be forced not only for a visual impact, but there's going to be a huge sound impact as well. And everybody knows in nursing homes, there's nothing but electronics and machines. And so one has to wonder if all of this is going to interfere with medical equipment. They'll also have lightning cables. So this is something that another visual on what lightning cables will look like, so that if lightning comes down, it won't destroy the plant and blow it up. And this is this is one of the neighbors in Island Park. This is her mom's house, and this is just to show you how very close to the substation homes would be. They say that you might not see it, but 0.7 miles, only partially visible, but all of these homes will have a frontline visual to this new substation. So this one is to support the sound. So this here in the core will be 65 to 75 decibels. And as you move further away from the core, the sound will lessen. But as you can see here, you'll still hear humming noises in Long Beach. And this is probably very not generous. We all know that we could hear sounds from Patty McGee's in the summer. We could hear music. I live over in close to the beach, and I used to hear Patty McGee's music. So I'm pretty sure we're all going to hear that sound. And but I also wondering, what does 70, 75 decibels mean, like in reality? And this is just the humming, because the construction noises will be in the over 100s. So I Googled it and I found this chart. So what is 70 decibels? That's what I was asking. So 70 decibels is like a dishwasher or a washing machine. 80 is like the kitchen blender. When I turn my smoothie on, my husband runs out of the kitchen. So that's what some people will be hearing. The people closest to the core will hear that blender all day. And it's known fact that 80 plus decibels or 70 plus over 24 hours causes hearing loss. And when you lose your hearing, you don't get it back. It doesn't regenerate. So another slide here is from OSHA. And this is what construction workers have to abide by. If they get around 80 to 85 decibels, anything below this is permissible, or they have to have headgear on. Are they going to give all of the residents headgear for the rest of their lives? And what about during construction? And